Ship and Shore Environmental is a global women-owned business that specializes in engineering, design, fabrication, and maintenance of pollution abatement equipment, as well as plant optimization services. We are joined tonight by the President and CEO of Ship and Shore Environmental. Anoosheh, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on, and a pleasure to be able to speak with you and let your audience and viewers know what we do.
Absolutely. No, the pleasure is all ours. We need clean air to breathe. Talk about what your company does to improve the environment.
In a very short summary, if I may, we design, engineer, and build anti-pollution control systems to remove any pollutants from any industrial facility of any size. And that could be chemical, petrochemical, refineries, processors, pharmaceutical, and people that make various products that could have the potential to emit what is referred to as volatile organic compounds, or VOCs.
That's amazing. That's amazing work and much needed. And I understand you've been expanding. You're in India, you're in Thailand. How's the process going in these countries?
It's going great. One of the things that I always refer to and mention to people is we do not have any geographic boundaries in our air. Therefore, whatever anyone does in any particular part of the world naturally will affect everyone else. We are very aggressive in the U.S. and have amazing rules and enforcement in place through the government agency, EPA, and local states. But some of the other countries, such as China and India, that have not been controlling the pollution that is coming off of the facilities, and manufacturers are now under the watch of their own government. So we have expanded to various countries to make sure that we don't end up having the aftermath of their pollution problems.
Yes, because
and we also do work all across U.S. naturally, and Canada.
Yeah, because just because of pollution knows no boundaries, right? It's not like it stops at the border and does it go. So if there's pollution taking place in one of the countries we've mentioned, it could affect us here at home as well. I'm curious, are you working with the companies specifically? Do you work with government agencies, or is it kind of a combination of the two?
Well, usually it is a combination of the two, because of the fact that we try to educate, if I may, the enforcement entities or the governments around the world as much as possible, as well as here locally, to let them know what is feasible and what is not. We can control, however, the technology has to be there and be available. However, our end users are various companies and processing facilities that are interested in making sure they look at the control, they look at the pollution that is coming off of their facilities and finding ways to control it. And naturally, in the US, we do have tight rules and regulations where you're not allowed or able to emit more than a certain amount of tons per area.
Talk about the impact of that, because when you go into these places and these factories are not up to code, or they're not up to your standard as a company, what are the results? I mean, you're seeing the impact when you go in there and you make this transition and you help these factories out. What are the positive results you're seeing?
Well, one of the positive results, naturally, as we are in California, however, we do operate in other parts of the country as well. 20 years ago, when you flew into Los Angeles, you really could not see 5 feet in front of you. The air was very polluted. It was like you were flying into a haze, not knowing where you land. South Coast Air Quality Management District, SCAQMD, is probably one of the leading agencies, not only in US, but considered globally to be looked upon to for various rules and regulations they have. And they have really cleaned up the air in the South Basin. So We hope one day all of the other states, all of the other countries do take major initiative to clean the air coming off of various industrial facilities. So the biggest difference is what you see in Los Angeles, if nothing else.
No, I fly into LA, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Where does the U.S. stack? Are we anywhere close to leading the world as far as cleaning up our own factories? I know we have a lot more work to do for sure.
Well, naturally, as we grow and manufacturing facilities are growing in this country, and we're bringing a lot more back in the country, we need to always be on the lookout as to what else we could do. We are constantly looking into new technologies, new ways to create more sustainability and removal of air pollution. U.S. is really leading the charge, I should say, across a lot of the other countries that I have traveled to and visited. We're not comparing U.S. to the worst polluters, but even some of the European countries that are claiming to be extremely aggressive, don't have as tight of a rule in place as U.S. does. So I am a true witness of all that has been done in U.S. to make sure that we do not pollute, at least as far as air will go, and I believe our water systems are following suit as well.
That's great. Got about 60 seconds left. I'm curious, as you look toward the future, what additional, I know you want to be everywhere, but what additional markets are you looking to expand next with your company?
Well, we would like to expand. However, we want to have a controlled growth. We cannot be everywhere, but by discussing the matter and bringing it to the forefront of a lot of new facilities that are considering opening new plants, if they look at their pollution control needs and sustainability and put that as a part of the overall design, I believe we have at least accomplished the idea of making sure we're conscientious about not polluting and doing the manufacturing along with good engineering practices.
That's great. And listen, I appreciate the work you're doing. There's only one Earth, and I like to be able to breathe clean air. We had your website up there a second ago. It is, we'll pull it up right there. There it is, shipandshore.com, I believe, if someone wants to get a hold of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, and appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. We'll be back right after this.